All right, I'm about to go live. You cool with that?
Yeah, just give me 2 seconds.
All right, well, we're going live.
Okay.
Just don't say anything too inappropriate. We won't start yet, but we're rolling. We are rolling with the yellow horn, man. Let's get it. I am actually
Are
I'm very
okay.
excited
I think
Game time can happen anytime.
you can mute that computer.
for sure. For
Having
sure.
multiple computers is tough.
Yeah, it's the struggle, right?
Okay, so this is fine.
Hashtag relatable.
Um, start. Okay, so I'm gonna start streaming here now, and you're gonna be live. Don't say anything inappropriate, Maddie.
I'm always saying inappropriate things. That's all I
Are
do.
you?
That's all I do.
That's why Murph is always. Why is Maddie such a glizzy to Gabe Smart?
That's
Not
right.
sure.
That's right. How you guys doing? We're gonna kick
How's
things off.
everyone doing?
Yeah, we're gonna kick things off in a few minutes. It's gonna be a little bit funny because we're live on. I wonder if mine is actually live. I wonder if this is working.
Yours is. It's showing a big ad for Manscape.
Nice.
And
What about when that
yo,
closes?
Josh, what's poppin'? Guys, don't watch on Maddie's YouTube. Watch
Stop
on
it.
my Twitch.
When
It's
when
so
it
much more appropriate.
when my ad closes, what is it? Is it live?
I think we're live, actually. Yes.
Can you see it on my YouTube?
I can see it on your YouTube. I think we're there. I think we are here.
All right, we're in it.
Now, if I go, I don't know if I'm live though.
All right, well, you might want to go live.
Am I live?
Didn't you just say hi to Josh?
No, Josh is on yours. I said hi to Josh on yours.
Oh, I can't see my live chat right now. Did he
Okay,
message
so I
in
think it
chat?
shows that I'm live.
Why can't I
I'm
see
just
the
gonna
live
double
chat?
check. You can't see the. How can you not see the live chat?
I can see where it says live chat.
It says, I said yo, and then Gabe Smart said, why is Maddie such a glizzy? And then Josh said, yo, what's poppin'?
Okay.
You are live, I'm here. Yo, it's poppin'. I need. I think you guys. Okay, so I have everything set up. So I have all four of my monitors going, everybody. So that's going to be really fun. So 4 monitors of goodness. Maddie and I are on a Discord call, OBS call, which is right on this one. This monitor is the Discord. This monitor is my Twitch. This monitor is Maddie's YouTube. So I'll be able to answer any questions. And if Maddie's having any technical difficulties, as he always does,
As I do, yeah, all the time.
yeah, I guess we'll basically be able to find out exactly what's going on. Yo, Josh with a sub.
Let's
He
go,
subbed
Josh.
for 7 months.
7
Don't ever
months,
sub to
so.
Maddie. It's not worthwhile. I honestly tell you, these tournaments are a scam. I've recently seen some videos where he runs some of the worst events of all time, and
Okay.
yeah, we've seen the DMs from people. We see everything. Is
All
that
right.
right, Gabe?
Well, I mean, Josh, if you're a 7-month subscriber for Zach on Twitch, I mean, it's only $1.99 to become a member on the Chill TCG server, and you actually get benefits, unlike
The
Zach's.
Luke Metal Master, big fan. I didn't know that Jake Gearhart was in the chat.
Wait, is Jake Gerard here?
No.
Oh, I'm disappointed now.
So yeah, I guess I think what's our plan here, Maddie? Are we gonna vibe for like
Yeah, well,
15 minutes, giving people some time to kind of vibe for a little bit?
yeah, we can chill. We'll chill for a little bit for sure. We'll give some people some time to hop in here.
If you have any questions, anyone, we're gonna try to answer anything, I guess, today. Our general idea here is to kind of go over like the GG Tour event that happened this past weekend. We're gonna go over the Chill Invitational that's happening later on tonight.
Yeah,
Shining Fates was just released.
yeah, we got a whole lot of stuff to
And,
talk about, man. And then the season 3 is coming next week. That's actually very huge. What's up, Muse Squad TCG? How you doing, my man? Yeah.
But Josh is still Luke Metal King. Luke Metal Squad sticks together. Luke Metal.
We're okay.
I think who does that sign? Is it Jay-Z? I think. Hove.
I don't know. Is that Illuminati? I mean, it's
Did you know that? Like, so fun fact to anyone, I actually have the all-seeing eye tattooed on my hands. I got really I got pretty drunk. I'm not gonna lie, and then I tattooed myself, so that was kind of fun.
Wow, that sounds hood rat as hell. Sounds.
Yeah, I guess Canada free healthcare makes you do a bunch of stupid stuff when you grow up. So that one's like almost 10 years old. So that's
Yeah.
kind of fun.
Awesome. Yeah,
Um,
it's gonna be a weird one tonight, Zach, because we've never been live before on these podcasts. So of course we're gonna try to do some viewer interaction, but we do have topics that we want to cover. We have a pretty big time slot. Typically these podcasts are around an hour, but we got about 2 hours slotted. I'm not saying we'll go the whole 2 hours, but I think why not? Mew Squad said he's doing well. He's 2-1 with ADP
Ooh,
right now in Funny Buddy.
broken. I forgot about Funny Bunny. I feel like you and I should also we should make these more fun as we go on, and see exactly what's popping. Right? I think that it'd be a lot cooler if we did something like that.
Sure.
Let's say if we were both playing Ford or something. Yo, Josh gifted 3 subs. Broken Josh.
What are you doing, Josh? Why aren't you even? What is going on? I see you're clearly favoring.
Josh is more my friend than your friend.
And he must be at this point. He's just completely favoring you, man. That's ridiculous.
I would father Josh's babies.
I would.
And why would Josh's babies come out as a Lucario, a Melmetal, or a Zacian?
I think you just have triplets, and it'd be all 3.
Actually, the answer is incorrect. The answer is Josh would birth out Mallow and Lana's, because anytime I play Josh, he literally only hits Mallow and Lana against me. That guy is the cheese master.
Oh man.
I love Josh to death. I've never seen anyone draw hotter. They're like, yep, I can get stamped to 1. Oh, need a Mallow and Lana.
Oh,
okay.
need to draw into Ballalana. Well, yeah, okay. I mean, anyway, Zach, the topics are bountiful tonight. We got a lot of stuff we want to talk about. What do you want to get into first? Do you want to get right into GG Tour stuff, or do you want to get into Shining Fates?
Well, I mean, I think what we should do is just kind of, I think we should kind of take some general ideas from what we have right now. Yo, June,
right.
What's poppin'? So I think right now, let's say we hard start the podcast around 3:15, so approximately in 8 minutes.
Okay.
So that'd be a really good time to start it.
I'm cool with that, man. It's again, we have a long time to go. Yeah, what's going on, June? How you doing? Yeah, I mean, we got plenty of time.
I think we just give it some. I think we just give it some time to let some people funnel in. I know there's 8 people watching on yours. I honestly can't tell how many are watching on mine. I got 9.
Thanks.
So I mean, overall, I guess we got 18 viewers or something like that. Let's give it a little bit more time so we could see a few more. So does anyone have any ideas? We'll take not to say we want to take priority to people who are subbed or are members, but of course we gotta kind of give shout outs to people who are supporting our channel the most.
For sure.
So if any of we'll invite anyone to ask anything, and no promises that we'll get to everything. But if anyone has anything that they want brought up on the podcast, maybe you're like, yo, Zach, what do you do at 11 o'clock, and why is it playing Maddie with Fortnite and Logan? Why, if there's any question you wanted to ask within reason, I'm totally totally cool.
For sure.
Of course, So if there's anything that anyone wants to know, anything that anyone wants to see covered, definitely bring you up in the podcast. Probably even tag you out on Twitter. If that's not an incentive to become a member or to subscribe on Twitch or anything like that, that's what we got going on here today.
Yeah, I mean, again, the chat room's always open. We're always watching the chat. So if you guys have any questions, you want to hear about anything, just let us know. Of course, we do have some set topics. Of course, we got plenty of tournaments to talk about, and we got Shining Fates to talk about. But other than that, yeah, I mean, we're just going with the flow, and we're kind of bouncing things off you guys, What?
Josh is
What, Josh?
Josh just keeps on gifting subs. Josh has gifted a total of 6 subs to my Twitch
gosh.
so far. Poor Maddie's sitting here being like, I'm the one kid that didn't get a present at the birthday party. I'm gonna go home and see you in the afterlife.
That's kind of how, dude. That's kind of how I feel, man. It's kind of how I feel. You can't even gift
okay.
subs on YouTube, but you can just. It's literally $1.99. I don't know what he's waiting for.
I also no cap. Has anyone I'm not trying to bait anyone to whatever, and we're only streaming because we think it's fun, and if there's any extra money that goes into it, it just goes back in channels or tournaments or whatever, for the most part. Big thing, can I use PayPal to sub on YouTube? I don't know if you could use PayPal to sub on YouTube.
Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can.
It's I'll take debit, credit, food stamps.
You can mail me some Buffalo nickels, bro. You can do
Yeah,
whatever you want.
exactly.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Has anyone ever like done a super sticker on YouTube? I know that I recently just hit the 1,000 sub part, and I'm just like, I see those super stickers, and I'm like, I always wanted to kind of get one. And I know I'm not the one who's on YouTube right now. I know Maddie is, but like, has anyone actually ever like given a super sticker?
I don't
Maddie,
know.
have you got one?
No, I don't even know what that is, to be honest.
You can
with
show your support by doing a super chat or a super sticker on YouTube.
I know what super
for,
chat
like-
is. I don't know what a super sticker is. Is that like a?
So if you click on it, like if you click on your YouTube thing, you could like, there's this like little pear guy that like you can give a big thumbs up, and it's like $3 to give a big thumbs up.
Dude, somebody give me a big $3 thumbs up, bro. That'd be sweet. You know what actually happened
there's
the
a-
other day? Zach, you know what happened yesterday? My dad, my father became a channel member, and he messaged me in like a family text group chat of like me, my mom, my brother, and he was like, I just became a channel member. I'm like, all right, man, like shout out. Let's get it.
That's pretty broken.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
Uh,
let's
Do
get
you
it.
want to know a funny story? So my dad actually tried to subscribe to my Twitch once,
Yeah.
and he thought he did it because he bought it, but he never gifted me the sub. He bought a sub token on his phone.
That's hilarious. Joshua
Yo,
Sutherland.
Josh!
Let's get it. Let's go. Let's go.
It's actually probably more worthwhile. I don't really offer much to like my Twitch subscribers, and I haven't been really I haven't really been doing much. But for Maddie, I think you give away like free entry for each of your things, anyways.
Yeah, listen, if anybody's
I
watching
don't know
right
if I'm
now.
supposed to leak that.
Oh, June Pod,
Yo!
let's go. June, the Pokey
With the-
God. Did that work?
I
Yeah, it
think
worked.
It's so funny that I think it's funny that the 100 sticker is worth 99 cents.
Oh no.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's kind of
That's
ironic.
broken. So now we see exactly what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
Maddie
that's-
racking up them dollar bills.
Well, yeah. So I mean, to that
Okay.
point, Zach, it's $1.99 to become a Chill TCG channel member, but you get access to some giveaways. Of course, we do monthly giveaways of a variety of things off PTCGO. You get free entry into all of our tournaments. You get a special Discord role. You get priority here in the chat, on Discord, all that good stuff. Shout outs and videos. So you do get a lot of stuff.
If there's
for
ever
just
a judge call that's going unfavorable or
Oh,
goes
yep.
into your favor.
Yep. Yeah. If they're slow playing,
100%.
I'll turn my head. I'll turn the other way. If you're slow playing, if you got to grind out those last couple minutes of the round.
I mean, I guess there's two particular players that I know that should become Poke members for sure.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man. If
That
they're-
$1.99 would be well spent, buddy.
Yeah. June,
okay,
man. Thank
so
you. Thank you,
we
June.
we actually got a thing here. So again, I apologize if I butcher any names. I'm terrible at reading these things.
Sure.
If you've watched any of my content, you know how bad I am at pronouncing Pokemon, and I don't really care.
It's all good.
Wazen, what do you guys think about an amazing rare deck like the ones we saw come up when Vivid Voltage came out, with the addition of Experience Share card coming up with the battle styles?
Oh, can I go first
So
on
we could
this?
definitely.
Can I go first?
I mean,
on
I
this?
think we should add this into the podcast at some point. So we'll answer it during when we're
Oh, okay. Yeah,
recording
sure,
in like
sure,
the
sure.
next few minutes.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I mean, it's super cool. Because like, not only do we want you guys to watch the podcast now live, I think I want y'all to watch it again and share it and watch the video and
Right.
you know.
Yeah. No, I think what he said was so good. I hadn't even given any thought to the XP share tool coming in battle styles, but you know that's actually a pretty good like a pretty good idea there. I mean, I kind of thought like my logo. I do like your logo, man. June, you're the absolute homie, June. But yeah, no, Battle Styles has a lot of really good cards. Me and Zach were really high on the Kingdra that's coming out in Battle Styles, which has a similar
Yes.
just sort of effect as that tool card does. But in Amazing Rares, it actually makes an entire amount of sense. You can run the XP shares, you can run turbo patches, all forms of energy acceleration. Those deck lists can actually become fairly consistent. I think personally, well, we'll cover it in a bit, but I think the Shining Fates Amazing Rares were honestly more playable than the Vivid Voltage ones, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, these ones seem pretty hot.
They do.
So
yeah.
I like that. And also, Josh, thank you again for another tier 1 sub. I mean, Josh is Maddie's just like, hey, Josh, remember how we were talking about those super stickers, buddy?
No, listen.
Do you like stickers? Do you want to lick the glue off the back, bud?
He
Stick
became
'em on my channel.
No, he became a member. So big shout out to Josh, man. I really appreciate
Yeah,
that.
Josh is always a homie, and you want to know what Josh is like the underlying support for a lot of these channels as well. I know Josh is like one of my really great friends, but Josh does support a lot of the channels and stuff like that. Honestly, a saint of a human being.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
So shout out to Josh.
Great guy. Great player,
That
too.
being said, I think, I mean, yeah, 100%. Luke Metal broken. Luke Metal. And
Chill
I
Series
mean,
champ. Chill Series champion, by the way.
He could be the Chill Series Invitational champion after tonight.
Yeah, he is playing an
And-
invitational, man. He's third. He's the third seed, which is actually kind of crazy.
And I'm just gonna. Is that Ibippo? I just got another question here.
Yeah, what's that? What's that one?
So, what? Okay. Guess biggest question would be just is your advice to someone who's coming back into the game after a gap.
Okay,
After
sure.
a gap, there was more to that.
We
I'm
can
just trying to get
yeah.
these things.
That's a good question. We can go deep. We can go deep into that. I get a lot of people on my YouTube channel, like in my comments, who are like, "Hey, like I came back after a while," and then they start asking questions. So, we can definitely get into that for sure.
They actually won a city championships in 2014, so that's cool.
That is cool.
Mindset tips. To keep the mindset going into potential online tournaments. So online and in real life. Okay, so I mean, I think now, Maddie, if you stream on Twitch, I would sub to you too, but you don't stream on Twitch. I
Nah,
guess,
man.
That's something to be said.
I'm a
To be
YouTube
fair,
guy.
Josh, I'm probably gonna switch over to YouTube very soon. I don't have all the bells and whistles that Maddie has right now. Like, I'm not a YouTube. I don't have access to create a membership or anything like that. So for me, I think it's better for me with my Twitch following that I have.
Yeah.
To currently stream on Twitch. But I think in the future, I'm going to probably do these things on YouTube and just probably go all in on the YouTube kind of platform because it makes a lot more sense as I've put a lot of my eggs into the YouTube baskets.
For sure. I mean,
So
we'll see. To that point, Zach, like there's people like Mahone and Azul who are streaming pretty much every day on Twitch. They really sort of front run it. There's not a lot of sort of people who are doing it daily, streaming on YouTube, doing stuff like that. So I think the market's a lot more wide open for people to stream on YouTube and PTCGO at least.
And I think based off the numbers, YouTube might have a bigger market share overall than Twitch.
Yeah.
And probably not for live streaming, but I mean, it kind of saves it as a video afterwards and you can put ads on it and stuff like that. So when it comes to to look into the business way, it might make a lot more sense for Maddie and I with what we've done with our similar channels. I know Maddie has a few more subs than me, but similar sized channels for us right now might be worthwhile. Yeah, Maddie's like, ha ha ha, got him. Okay, so I think yo, Logan, hi.
Logan?
Okay, let's
Is that Logan?
Yeah, Logan. Where's Logan? I thought your neck hurt, bud. Anyways, I think we should start off with the podcast kind of now as our official starts.
Sure.
Because at some point we got to put this up for people who listen only on like Apple Podcasts, whatever, all those lames.
Right.
So let's go ahead and start now.
Okay. All right. All right, everybody, welcome to the Yellowhorn Podcast, episode number 10. This is a very special episode this week.
10, 2 hands.
2 hands,
10.
man. Actually, this is our season 1 finale, technically. Because I guess the seasons don't really matter, but this was our first season of the Yellowhorn, our first 10 episodes, and we're going to end it on a special one this week, guys. We are actually live on Twitch and on YouTube, so we will be taking questions from the chat room. And if you're watching this now pre-recorded on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever it might be, definitely go check out Zach's YouTube channel and his Twitch channel, my YouTube channel. We're starting to go live a little bit more, and it's definitely going to be really good tonight. Before we get into it, though, I want to give a big thank you and shout out to GG Tour. Now, GG Tour is our sponsor of the podcast. Chill TCG works very closely with GG Tour. We run these awesome regional style tournaments once per month. We just had one wrap up this past weekend. GG Tour is an incredible company. They run esports events for a variety of different games. And the prizing's fantastic. The tournament organizers, fantastic. And Zach Lasage recently saw some success at the last GG Tour tournament as well. So big shout out to them. Go check them out at ggtour.com. Zach, we got a lot of really great topics today. The GG Tour tournament just wrapped up. The Chill TCG Invitational is tonight as we record this. And Season 3 of the Chill series is coming next week. And there's also Players Cup coming soon, man. A lot of stuff to talk about. So
Cutting Fates literally just dropped this week.
That's true.
I mean, since I said we are live, Mr. Spoink Lord, Mr. Ian D's competitive Pokemon has redeemed I Will Dab 1 for both of us. So how are we doing this, Maddie? Are we doing dabs, you dab and I dab, or are we doing dab at the same time? I can do a spinning dab chair. 3, 2, 1.
all right.
That was a spinning dab. That might even be worth a sub. Anyways,
Pretty
Chill Invitational tonight. Will it be streamed? So also for anyone who's listening, we're kind of I'll answer things as we see pop up on both chats again, streaming both on YouTube and on Twitch. So that's probably a question for Maddie. Is it going to be streamed?
Yeah, man. It's interesting because we're going to be running this stream here, the podcast, till about 5 p.m. The invitational starts at 6. Now, for me personally, I don't really have the longevity to stream for 9 hours in one night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to live stream sort of like the top 8. And it's best of 3 double elim. So even top 8 and onward for the invitational tournament, Zach, is going to be a lot of matches, a lot of content. So I think that we're going to come back and we're going to start live streaming around 9 or so, start streaming the rest of the matches. But it will be live. It'll be live here on my YouTube channel where I'm live right now. And it's definitely going to be really fun. We have an absurd amount of competition and high-level players playing tonight, Zach. Yourself being one of them. And
we made it.
We made it. It's actually...
I don't think I'm streaming tonight. I think I'm going to concentrate. I found...
yeah.
When I stream these events, I typically don't do as well because I'm too busy like looking at the chat, being more entertainer. I know that there's a lot of great YouTubers and Twitch streamers and stuff like that can do both. I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I think that was definitely bringing me back. So I'm excited to watch Maddie's stream and hopefully that I get a chance to be on Maddie's stream, maybe bringing it back with a top 8. I know Michelle's also playing, so got a root for my girlfriend playing in the Chill TCG
also
Invitational.
True. Yeah.
She actually plays higher than me this Chill season. So
way higher. Yeah, way higher.
Shut
She actually won a Chill Series tournament, man, and
yeah, I'm trying, man. I literally have tried many times. I bubbled 9th a few times.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough tournament.
I can't even make it into top 8.
Well,
so that's okay.
The thing is, Zach, like the Chill Series weeklies are kind of one of the more premier weekly events every week. So our top 32 is very indicative of honestly kind of like what the PokeStats rankings look like. And this is really going to be kind of a good precursor to what the real end of the season, like PokeStats Invitational, is going to be, because a lot of our players are going to be up there as well. So it's pretty fantastic. Pretty fantastic, man.
Yeah,
I wish you luck.
A talented group of players. I mean, we'll see exactly. I'm not sure what I'm going to be playing right now. Obviously, I've been playing Eternatus a lot lately. It's definitely
leaks.
one of my top choices.
Okay.
I mean, if anyone's leaking right now and they want to switch over to Luke Metal, that's fine. I'm also known to play Son of Scourge, and I will absolutely roast you. So that's cool. Hey, Josh. Anyways, so it's one of those things where, yeah, we'll see exactly how it goes. So I don't know. I guess like we should probably go in like some kind of chronological order of things, how they've happened. So recently, I guess the GG Tour is probably the thing that's happens.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we can go into the GG Tour.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. June is also asking some questions there, so he says a lot of people prefer...
I'll write those down too.
Okay, yeah, cool. All right, we'll get to that question, June. No problem. We'll get to it after we cover, the topics that we have set. So thank you for the question. Anybody else in chat, if you guys want to ask questions, just put them down. We'll get to them for sure. We got plenty of time. But yeah, the GG Tour tournament was this past weekend. Now, it was interesting. It was an interesting environment because... right now the format, or at least this past weekend before, Shining Fates and all that stuff, the format was pretty stale. Like everybody's kind of tournament, I guess, attendance was going down. People are just not competing as much as they were. When Vivid Voltage first came out, it's been months since we had a really nice new set to come out and shake up the meta. For that reason, we really only had just over 100 people playing in this GG Tour tournament, Zach. But it brought out all of the very talented players, the people who play seriously. And this top 8 that we got to cut into perhaps was the most impressive top 8 in any online tournament of all time, other than maybe, Players Cup or something like that. But it was absolutely...
I'd even argue that it's probably more, like it seemed a little bit more prestigious than recent Players Cup. Because even if we looked at maybe like the top 8s of the Players Cup 2, or even of the Players Cup 1, of course you see like Tord, and everyone who makes it there deserves their accomplishment and stuff like that. The reason, like, when you have like Danny, myself, Stefan Ivanov, like 3 of the world's best players in the game, and I'm not necessarily one who wants to like refer to myself, but like,
but you are.
It's not a point of being humble. Like it is what it is at this point. Even just those 3 players alone, but then when you round it out, you have even more players there. Jake Santiago and Aiden Kuss are both very well-rounded players with their own individual accomplishments. Gabriel Smart, really one of the leading online players in the game. So just a lot of really good stuff going on over there.
Yeah, man. It was pretty hot. It was kind of one of those events too where Decidueye Goons, like we had Jake and Aiden, who were both playing Desi Goons. They dodged Welder decks almost the entire first and second day of Swiss, and went almost undefeated just because they didn't, they hit a bunch of auto wins. And no disrespect to them as players. Obviously, great players, picked a great deck, but it was one of those tournaments where the Decidueye Goons got kind of fortunate in their matchups, and we had two of them sneak into top 8 and make it all the way to top 4. One of them made it to finals. Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I think our top 8 was a couple Goons, a couple E-turns, a Peak, a Blounds, and a Luke medal. That was our top 8. And it just so happened that, I think Blounds hit Luke medal, Desi, and then Desi in top 8, right? So he had a pretty decent sort of path to winning the championship. And of course, Blounds did win the tournament. But I think if that Blacephalon didn't sneak in there, the Decidueye would have just held it down for sure. But overall, it was a very tough day for Centiskorch, Zach. I don't think we really had many Centiskorches do very well in that tournament.
I think it was poorly positioned, if anything. It's
Yeah.
one of those things, if the format kind of grew, a lot of people for these events play Pikarom, Baby Blacephalon, which makes that when people are playing these decks, Mad Parties come out. We even saw Gabe Shumway played Mad Party. So it's one of those things where, like, Centiskorch fell into a field of counters. The deck is a little bit more inconsistent than most other decks because, like, the way that I look at Welder decks nowadays, and no shame, like, I've literally seen some of the most success. Like, I qualified for the Players' Cup 3, basically, with Centiskorch. The deck's running off Hop that attaches energies. Think about that. Like, it's a glorified theme deck card. And it's like, cool, that's your way to accelerate energies. And that's really where the power kind of creep goes. One of the best supporters of all time. But you're running off of a deck that just draws 3 cards at a time. No other deck would be like, yep, Eternatus is so powerful, I'm going to play Hop instead of Research.
Right.
So that's really where you're going to fall into some issues. So I think a lot of the top players, like Thomas Brophy, really kind of fell down because they had some poor matchups. I'm not entirely sure. Like, I haven't looked into their run because this format's kind of, it's overcooked.
Yes, definitely.
It's one of those things where, like you said, we saw a lot less players for this event because Vivid Voltage didn't necessarily add much into our metagame. It's just kind of a repeat of our Darkness Ablaze metagame with a sprinkle of Colossal here and there just to ruin Eternatus' day. For the most part, it doesn't matter at all. Vivid wasn't great. This event didn't have Shining Fates legal due to the timing. Shining Fates just coming out on the Friday on PTCGO, this event being Saturday morning. So it really made a bunch of kind of awkward metagame things, but again, a lot of the top players are able to look at an event because this was I'd say the last major event of this format.
I agree.
Or the last event that matters. Like, no offense to PokeStats, I think that PokeStats event is probably a little too far out after Shining Fates has been released. Like, I think it should have ended probably relatively close to this weekend or this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, if not,
this
have
is
already
really
ended.
one of. Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things where obviously timing's a thing, but that was the last event. I think the thing that allowed top players to see success in that event was our ability to metagame the metagame that exists and understand exactly, like, we have a final. We've been able to study the metagame for what seems like 6 months now. This is the absolute end. What's going to happen? And we're able to look at, like, what the other players, like maybe the not so successful players, like, what are they trending on? What are the numbers? And I know I used a lot of the Dino Data app to come up with a lot of the ideas behind my deck.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, honestly, like, the majority of the meta is Darkness Ablaze meta, right? And that's what really kind of the primary focus around a lot of the archetypes right now, other than maybe the tag teams and stuff like that. But that's old stuff. I mean, everything that's super playable right now in the format, Zach, is old. It's been around for a very long time, and without really a whole lot of new stuff coming out in Vivid or in Shining Fates, for that matter, it's really just become kind of chill. It's definitely kind of figured out for the most part. I mean, I guess things can happen where things pop up and you don't necessarily
I disagree with that.
You don't think so?
I think things popped up.
Well,
I mean, I think we saw, like, we saw at the Players' Cup 2, basically how we saw that Lightning Mewtwo pop up towards the end of it.
I think
But things
Pikarom
popped
changed.
up.
Like,
You
Pikarom
think
had that
Pikarom
change.
changed?
Well, I don't think people were really running Mewtwo until
Well,
until
Mewtwo happened like to be fair, it seems so long ago, but that was the first weekend that Vivid Voltage was legal. That me and my testing group really came up with that.
right. I'm just saying like that
So
was
that's like all the way at the beginning. Like I don't
yeah.
think Pikarom changed since. I mean, maybe from like Darkness Ablaze to now, things have changed.
That's what I
For
mean.
sure, I'd say
Yeah.
things. Okay, I thought you were saying since Vivid. I was like Home
No.
Slice. I don't think things have changed since Vivid. Last time I remember anything changed since Vivid is like there was that Seeking deck that got
Yeah.
dropped, and there was a bunch of drama with that.
Shout out to
Even though
iCatter,
Seeking's been
baby.
a deck, I literally remember I was on a Discord call with Gyroshan. He showed me the Seeking deck when Sword and Shield was released. So I mean, I don't know about that, but Gyroshan invented Seeking.
Seeking, yeah. Shout out to Gyrophone. No, I
He
think
invented Digimon too.
yeah, he did. I think I think since Vivid Voltage came out, I think really the big thing was people were playing Colossal like when it came out. Of course, Colossal and Orbital are like the only archetypes that people really played in Vivid, but
This guy with Orbital.
well, listen, dude, Orbital actually because it didn't see any love for like the first month and a half, and then after weeks of propaganda from myself and a few other people of the community, people decided Orbital should see play, and it's seen play and expanded events and its standard events. But you guys, I think it was it a GG Tour event or was it a different one where you guys kind of built that that widely accepted Colossal list that people play these days, right? And that's it with phones and all that good stuff. Like you guys really built that list, and that right now I guess was sort of the most recent. I guess top 10 deck to see some play. I'm just trying to think the new Control
I don't
deck.
think there's anything else that I would consider top 10. Even Control probably can't be considered top 10.
Yeah.
Just because it has big issues with time constraints.
Rowegg,
requires a
maybe?
lot of
People weren't really playing Rowegg.
Rowegg is not like that's
it's not new,
since,
but people
no.
I think
it shifted back into the metagame a little bit.
Right.
But I think that's probably only because Azul makes 3 videos a week on that and Tempos are.
And those are his decks, the Tempos are.
Like anyone who watches Azul's channel can tell me that it's just Tempozard and Roweggs nowadays, and that's all it seems. Azul's got fried eggs on the mind. So
or fried egg or fried eggs
just really
for
likes
mine.
eggs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, green eggs and fried eggs.
Ridiculous, man.
Dr.
Yeah.
Seuss.
The format's been kind of chill, but I think the GG Tour events are very important because whenever a GG Tour event comes out, like there's always something that kind of pops up that opens up people's mind a little bit. At least this past one wasn't too crazy like that, but I think the one before that was sort of Control, right? We had Control go to finals, and that was a kind of a big stir. And then before that, I think it was Colossal that had a pretty good run, or something of the such maybe. Mad Party actually came back into the light. That list became sort of introduced with sort of Giovanni's Exile and sort of a new list that people are now just kind of playing. So the format's changed a bit, but nothing extraordinarily new, right? It's kind of new takes on some old stuff, I think. But
yeah, I'd say that's probably the same. But it's probably a good segue now. Like GG Tour, whatever. It kind of put the nail in the coffin for like the formats. Yeah. We saw Baby Blacephalon win. Or Chrycephalon, as we should say.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the deck that we expected to win. It just had a really good pocket in that particular top 8.
Exactly.
I mean, I think Decigoons probably should have won that event, but no one was expecting Decigoons, hence why only 3 people played it.
Yes. Exactly.
So, I mean, I think E-Turn or Peak probably could have won that event in any other normal circumstance, but top 8 shaped up a little bit different. But Shining Fates released the Friday before. We're now about half a week with it on PTCGO. I think Shining Fates is actually changing the game more than Vivid Voltage did.
I agree. I agree.
That's my hot take.
I agree with that 100%, man. I think it's funny.
I remember when Vivid dropped on PTCGO, and I was like, cool, I can cover Colossal. Cool, I can cover Orbital. Everything else is kind of meh. It's one of those things, I don't know. I feel like it reinvented ADP.
Yeah, Mew Squad. Dude, Mew Squad just said Shining Fates is the best set of all time because it made me love ADP again.
ADP feels like a new deck.
It does.
It's kind of like kind of getting back together with your old high school girlfriend or something like that. Like,
right.
You loved it one time, hated it for a while, and you're like, damn, that summer was good.
Yeah, now you're like, oh wait a minute, there was something. Yeah.
Sorry, Michelle. Sorry, Alex. That ADP deck. ADP. Yeah. Like really, it's kind of hot. I think ADP is kind of hot again. Rusted Sword makes ADP hot again.
I think, yeah, man. I think ADP, and I made a video recently on sort of just the straight Turbozation list, mainly because
check it out.
Yeah, mainly just because like with ADP you do incorporate Rusted Sword, but for the most part it's the same list. You made an updated ADP video, which is important. That's, in my opinion, probably a more playable list, than Turbozation, but I wanted to make that Turbozation list just because it wasn't something that was necessarily very viable until Rusted Sword. So in my opinion, it is actually kind of playable. I still say it to this day. If you're trying to grind out the ladder, Zach, Turbozation's the deck, because people will either scoop to you in 30 seconds or you scoop to them in 30 seconds. That's how that deck goes.
I still need to try a little bit more with it. I was actually talking to Gabe Smart, going over the list that Zach Cooper and Caleb Rogerson were playing at, I think it was like the Monday Hegsters.
Yep.
They kind of went over a Turbozation deck that I thought had some funny cards in it for sure.
Are they running Clay?
I don't think they were running Clay, but Clay might be cool.
I just saw a list with Clay and it sounds busted, but who knows?
Yeah, no, but the thing that I thought was cool, I didn't necessarily know if I liked their Zigzagoon Scoop Up Net Jirachi engine. I think that might be a little bit clunky. I kind of really like the Galarian Berserker line. I think it adds a lot of just viability to the deck. To me, that's the best way to play the deck right now.
I agree.
But they did add a Ditto V into the deck, which I thought was super hot, because Ditto V can basically make your Zamazenta into double Zamazenta.
Right. No, I like that a lot. And I mean, it's, and when you're running just metal energies in the deck, then it doesn't actually matter what, because Ditto's just any V Pokemon, right? So if you're running a deck with more than one V Pokemon, type V Pokemon, you might as well kind of run a Ditto, because it's just a consistency
Unless you're
card.
playing Eternatus, do not play Ditto in Eternatus.
Do not. No, you're right. No, definitely don't do that.
But what was I going to say? Oh, also, if anyone, while we're on the subject of Turbozation, I think Aegislash V is also necessary in the deck.
I agree.
My thought process going into it, I thought Galarian Berserker might have been enough to get around Altaria, which is seeing a lot of play with the new Crobat VMAX deck.
Yeah.
Which we could talk about in a second. But I think that it's what's it called? When you face the Decigoons, and Decigoons just doing so well, the GG Tour is going to translate over into our format because it's very similar. It's one of those things where you can't beat Decigoons with just Berserker. Even with the resistance, they will find a way. It's not that hard to get around, especially with the Rowlet, Bird Keeper, all that good stuff. So I think you need Aegislash, and Ditto V makes Aegislash become 2 Aegislash. So there should be no way you're ever losing that matchup.
No, for sure, man. I like Aegislash and Ditto. The thing is, there's not too much room in the deck to add maybe 2 extra more Pokemon. But you definitely can, and there's definitely space, and I think that it's worth it. It's one of those things where you kind of have to make the decision going into sort of a certain meta of a tournament. Like, do you think that Desi's going to be relevant? If not, then maybe you just kind of scrap that, go for more consistency. But Aegislash, I think that Berserkers can handle a couple Altarias. You get 2 Berserkers out there, I think you one-shot Altaria. But when it comes to Decidueye and Goons, you definitely don't want to rely on those 2 Berserkers. I think that the Berserker lineup is the smart move, though, because for my list in my video, I ran the Berserkers, the Rusted Swords, of course, and I did run a couple Leons because, you might not be in a position where you use all of them at once to hit through 320, but you more consistently and more often than not, you're getting to 280 or whatnot, right? So it's more of a consistency thing than it is to reaching super high, though you can, if that becomes the case. In my opinion, you run the Berserkers, you run just some Dedenes, some Crobats, researches, things like that. I did see Clay in a list, and I'm actually pretty interested in that. It's hot because you discard, right? You might just discard a bunch of energies and draw a bunch of saucers, right? But
I don't know if you can play that with something like Berserker for what it's worth.
Exactly.
It might be difficult to get the Berserker. I mean, there's obviously, you could use Galarian Meowth's ability to search out the Berserker before you do that.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not nearly as bad. It might be something to actually check into. The one thing that I do want to kind of correct you on with the Altaria. So the biggest deck that's playing Altaria right now, Crobat VMAX.
Right.
That's the thing that you got to worry about. So that's why you can't get through the Altarias, because they're going to free retreat, hit you for 70, free retreat, hit you for 70, and then knock you out. So you'll eventually run out of ammo against them. I've tested that matchup enough where I think that it's 90-10 if you don't have Aegislash.
Right.
So.
No, yeah. No, I mean, I think you're right. With Crobat, it's definitely kind of difficult for sure. I mean, there's some other decks.
Just normal Altaria, I agree with you. Normal Altaria,
But because
Crobat
once
VMAX, though.
Yeah, dude, Crobat. I mean, all of the decks in Shining Fates are kind of hot. The first deck that I made a video on was Crobat, because me and you discussed before release and during release that it probably was the most playable of the new VMAXs, at least. Of course, Cramorant is awesome sometimes, but it's just not as consistent overall, I think, as Crobat. It's at first glance it seemed underwhelming, and I kind of thought that as well. But you were the one who was like, "Listen, like attacking and switching out has always been one of the best sort of effects of an attack that you could possibly have for a very long time." And we have the cards right now in the format to get it done.
Like, also, I want to give a shout out to Talonite X. They put a lot of these early lists on their Twitter that they find from Japan. So I mean, it wouldn't have even been on my radar. I would have been like, Crobat VMAX sucks. Any other normal way, but I mean, I do follow them on Twitter to see what type of ideas that come out of Japan. Not necessarily are they the most refined ideas. I think a lot of it comes from Japanese shop tournaments and stuff.
Yeah,
because they've done a lot better at handling
yes,
the pandemic than North America for sure. But it's one of those things where I think that a lot of that content really helps me work on my content a few months down the line. And I mean, here we are with a pretty solidified deck. I think that I'm probably gonna. I just dropped a Crobat video on my channel. I think one thing that I'm gonna start doing, I might start doing more uploads frequently on my channel. So a little bit of kind of tidbit going on there. I think that I might do like, I just recorded my Crobat video. Today I have my GG Tour regional video that just went up doing a recap.
It's a great video
on
actually.
Tonight.
I watched that one.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw how I got my butt busted in by Mr. Altavilla.
Well,
but later on
hammers.
tonight I'm gonna put a shot. Yeah. Later on tonight I'm doing a Shining Fates opening, so just kind of a bonus video. But I think tomorrow morning I might start it off before just doing the podcast on whichever day we release our podcast. I might also just do like an updated like 5-10 minute deck list video. So I might be like, here's my updated Crobat VMAX deck list. I've been immediately testing it. Here we go. Here's why I made the changes. So I think that's what I'm really going to do. So maybe like the amount of hours for my content is going to be better, or is going to be the same, or maybe just slightly more. But I think it's going to be a lot more content that is more meaningful in the moments is the best way to put it, I think.
Yep. I want to give a little read here to Knack in the chat room. I'm a little bit late on this, but he says, I think ADP would be more balanced if the weakness switch changed, or maybe the card didn't let you take an extra prize. Now with Rusted Sword, ADP feels busted. It was always kind of busted just because of boss. The whole taking an extra prize thing is the only reason people play that deck. There'd be no reason to play ADP just for the damage modification, right? You would just play Turbozation. I think that Rusted Sword, the thing for me is like now with Rusted Sword, you have multiple outs to KO stuff for multiple prizes. Like instead of now needing boss to KO a bench Pokemon, now you can just Rusted Sword and maybe KO, or most likely just KO anything that's in that active spot unless it's a VMAX, right? So I think that it overall kind of just gives that deck more consistency with its KOs. But ADP's always been busted, and I think now it's just going to see more play, which is, debatable whether that's...
It kind of hits those numbers, right? Like, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is, like, there might be like, so basically the set added in...
290.
Let's just say it added in ADP. Let's say it just added in Turbo Zacian. And let's say it added in Crobat VMAX for the most part. I think those are probably, like, the three that kind of shake up the metagame enough, where ADP is revitalized, moves up the ladder. Turbo Zacian is definitely a real deck. It exists within the top 10. And Crobat VMAX probably is lower placed within the top 10, but it still exists. And maybe Cramorant VMAX is also down there as well. And there's a cool few things for Shining Fates. What a lot of people don't realize is what that kind of tier list changes to the metagame. So ADP has been hated out of the metagame because of Pikarom and Eternatus and all these Crushing Hammer decks. So it's been put down here. But now that it has enough damage output to kind of overcome that, because like with a Rusted Sword and an ADP GX attack and a Leon, a Zacian V can now knock out a Centiskorch VMAX, a matchup that typically was very poorly favored for ADP.
Exactly.
So with ADP being like this, and being able to knock out those Pikaroms and those Mewtwo's without having all these bells and whistles, it just really depends on, like, the metagame shifted. So I think the biggest thing is ADP goes up, Luke Metal goes down, E-Turn goes up, Peak goes down.
I agree.
And I think that's kind of really where the metagame is really settling with those top decks, kind of finding out where they fit in. After revisiting the ex-girlfriend, we're first day of high school after the year of 6th and 7th grade, and it's one of those things where it's first day, we don't know where we fit in, everyone.
It's like when you're lonely and you're looking through your phone for all those just old people in your contacts, and you're like, oh, I remember her, and you're like, let me just hit her up, see if she's still feeling it. And of course that's ADP. That's ADP, and of course they're still feeling it, man. I just got a nice new car or whatever, and it's just ready to rip. Come over to your house. That's how I feel with ADP right now.
Nice.
A couple other decks. Oh, sorry.
Nice.
The True TCG said opinions on Aggro real quick. What do you think? I think maybe he's talking with Delmise or something. Maybe just Aggro in general.
Let's just talk about Aggro in general for a second. I think Aggro is a strong Pokemon. I think the ability of having Forest of the Giant Plants being put into the deck seems pretty cool. Like that kind of idea of a card that was banned in Pokemon being put as an attack.
Yeah, right.
Fundamentally good. There's probably too much fire and oppressive cards to make it a tier 1 deck. I haven't featured the deck in my top 10 list for the past 3 months.
Yeah.
So I'd say lower placed, really cool concept, not necessarily viable in this competitive environment.
For sure. For my list that I did for the past month, for the month of January, and I don't know what it'll be for this month. I haven't crunched the numbers, but it was 9th in terms of its overall CP total. And that's just because I think that, again, sort of the propaganda of people, and that's kind of a weird word, but the people like Azul who were making videos playing it in tournaments, a lot of it was played more, right, than maybe it deserves to be played, which kind of gives it an overall a total higher ranking. But Aggro, definitely a good deck. It's one of those decks where it has really good matchups against some of the more obscure decks. So like you'll hit something like if you're playing something that might not be necessarily meta and you hit Aggro, you might be like, oh crap. Like if I'm playing Dragapult and I hit Aggro, I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Something like that. But for the most part, I think Aggro is going to struggle for at least a while until maybe a Welder rotation or something like that. But yeah, Zach, there's other decks that came out in Shining Fates. Thank you, the True TCG, for that. There's other decks. I mean, you mentioned Crobat, and then of course the rehashed ADP and Turbozation. There's other ones that personally I like a lot that I can't really consider to be higher than like a tier 2 or maybe lower. The two videos one video that I recently made, Zach, was sort of the new rehash. And again, this is what Shining Fates does. It kind of improves upon older lists. Was sort of that Aurora Welder V-Box deck. It was the deck that Marco Cifuentes used to win Chill Series 3. Was all the hype for about a week and then just never saw play again. In my opinion, it's actually extremely more playable with the inclusion of Dittos. Is it something that will catch on? Is it something that I think will become relevant in the meta? I can't tell you that, right? I can't predict that. But for my playing and my testing, it actually seems extremely consistent. And I think particularly once sort of we rotate and the format becomes primarily VMAX decks, I think it's going to be exceptional. And for the simple fact that you can
disagree with that.
You disagree? Okay, no, that's fine.
No, sorry, I'm saying I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Oh yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think you run all the different types of attackers. Sorry, I'll let you talk, but you run all those different types of attackers of different, typings. But you have Dittos, so now instead of running 1 of 10 different cards, you're running technically 3 of 10 of these different cards, and no matter what matchup you hit, you have 3 cards that necessarily. It's
cute,
but it works though. Like it actually works.
No. I'm not like what I'm saying is. I guess my biggest problem with anything like that is that, well, it's not even necessarily ADP. It's just like the deck might seem like it has answers to everything, or something like that. It doesn't necessarily have answers to everything. It's kind of an inconsistent mess in the process, and that's what scares me. Whereas there's more streamlined versions of this deck, such as Chrycephalon and stuff like that, with the decks already in an inconsistent shell. So that's the biggest thing that kind of worries me. And just kind of to answer, to go back, I know a few people talked about Aggro and Rillaboom. So 76ers did win Hexters with it. I think they had an incredible run for sure. Congratulations to them. It's one of those things where I feel like the decks that it beats, something had to go off like there. No shame at all. Thomas played poorly in the finals.
Agreed.
I'll be one to say it. And
Can't
there's
win them
mistakes there, and I'm sure I've played poorly before too. Yeah. I don't necessarily think if Thomas played the same way again, or if other players who are as experienced with the deck would have played in that finals, that would have happened.
I've never played
poorly. Not to take
poorly,
away from 76ers or not to take away from 76ers or Thomas or anything like that. I don't necessarily think that one event is indicative of a deck's success.
That's the thing, right, Zach? Is you gotta realize that this was sort of a 100-player, a little, just over 100-player, best of 1 tournament, which
stuff
of course
happens.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff happens, but like some weird stuff can win. I think we saw wasn't it Tokikis Blowns that won Limitless a little while ago, which was like 200 plus players. So like these best of one tournaments, like things can just happen.
The Wild West, like you always
Yeah.
like you got to think of it back. Like if you've been playing since Inner Life has been out, like if you've played in Inner Life tournaments, I'm sure you'll probably see some like report on like some like middle of nowhere state or city or something. Someone wins a city championship or a league cup or a league
Yeah.
challenge or something with insert deck here, and you're like, LOL, this deck's a total meme, and all the content creators make a video on it. I think that's kind of what might have happened. That's what happens for some of these events. It's not necessarily indicative of the best players. It's not indicative of the best decks. It's in that particular moment in time, Rillaboom Row Eggs was successful at winning.
Yeah. And
it's the only way that I'd ever look at those tournaments. We'd have to look at the data. Again, like I talked about dynodata.app.
Busted.
Great resource as well. Maybe I'll make a video on how to use it a little bit.
You could, or you could just link them to my YouTube channel. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. But I think if you're gonna look at tournament results and really kind of identify the meta, I think the GG Tour tournaments are pretty much the best way to do it. In my opinion, like the meta right now will be, or it was at least before the rotation. It was E-Turn and Peak. With maybe like a welder deck, which is kind of a toss up between Senti or Blowns at any given point. And then maybe an ADP or Luke Middle can slide in, but that's really it. And then of course if Decidueye has a good showing, then of course it can win anything. But that's in my opinion just how the meta is right now. You can look at things like Rowegg, you can look at things like what's some other lower tier decks that could win. I'm just trying to think. Mewtwo Lightning, like a Rowegg, things like that, which always have the chance to win. Cinderace, right? Those things all have the chance to win. It just, given a real circumstance in a real sort of best of three, legitimately competitive environment, I don't,
Also, we have
I don't know
kind of a comment here from Brandon.
Yeah.
So Brandon Lane, opinions on Luke Metal with Rusted Sword. I'll start. I think that Luke Metal with Rusted Sword seems okay. I think Rusted Sword is a necessity in that deck to compete with the Turbo Zacian and ADP decks that brought Rusted Swords. So you can't necessarily be going in there with Metal Goggles all the time. Now the issue is the deck's having a bit of an identity crisis because the deck that only ran Metal Goggles and sometimes Stealthy Hood now has access to Metal Goggles, Stealthy Hood.
Sword.
You need Cape of Toughness is one of the only ways to get over those damage caps. Rusted Sword and Rusted Shield. So it's one of those things where
Alex Inteleon and VMAX, that's one of them too. Sorry.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where the deck is kind of unknown right now on what it should do. It definitely got booted down the ladder for sure.
I got zooted.
That's straight facts. I think it's better to just play again the Turbo Zacian deck, one Zamazenta, one Ditto V, and kind of transform your deck as you like instead of playing such a stagnant deck otherwise.
Yeah, I agree. I think now with Rusted Sword, it's not ideal to play a Zacian deck that has a slower pace to it. Right now, you have things like ADP in Turbo Zacian, which with their damage mods and the new Rusted Sword, they're KOing you, right? You can't really. Yeah, you might be able to live like at some point, but for the most part, they're just going to KO you. And if you're not taking extra prize cards, or if you're not running an extra fast pace version of the deck like Turbo Zacian, you're just at a disadvantage. So I think right now, in terms of Zacian decks, it goes ADP, Turbo, then Luke Metal, in my opinion.
That's probably fine. I still think we have a really good ADP shell. We don't necessarily have enough experience with Turbo Zacian. We saw Turbo Zacian a little bit around the era of POG when the POG Championships was happening, and that's Pokemon Organized Play Global Event or something like that. Whatever it stands for.
Pokemon Online Global.
Pokemon Online Global Championships. Thank you.
I don't know.
And then we saw a little bit with Pablo's Tablemon series. That's Sword and Shield on. That's all we really have for Turbo Zacian. We don't necessarily have in the now. So I think as we experiment with the Sword and Shield or the Shining Fates format for the next little bit, it should be pretty cool to see exactly how the deck comes into his own. It's quite possible that it's better than ADP, but I'm not sure if I can put my finger on it.
I want to ask you about something in particular, Zach, and this might be just not good. And it was an idea I had earlier today.
Okay.
there's
My heart drops when someone's like, Zach, I have something to talk to you about, and it's not good.
Yeah.
I'm like, what tweet?
No.
What tweet did they find from 2011, man?
No, I mean it's about like
what else have I done wrong in the community? What's going on here?
No, it's a deck.
My heart's dropping.
So similarly to like a turbozation is a thing. Like, is there ever a world where you run like a straight Zamazenta with like Alterias in there, and you run all the kind of similar stuff, but you run Rusted Shield, and you kind of play around the fact that you're immune to VMAXs. You can go into Altaria and stuff if you're playing against I suppose
I think it's
tag
too
teams.
much.
You think it's too much? I mean, in my opinion,
I mean, Altaria and Zamazenta, I think that the same way that the Ditto VMAX deck that you're talking about wants to diversify a little bit and have a bunch of these different options. I feel like your options are too similar, which makes your deck building skeleton improper uses of cards. So I think that while the premise is that you can almost block everything all the time and still attack, I think Altaria alone carries a lot of the deck. One thing that I'm noticing when I'm testing Crobat VMAX is a lot of the times I feel like I could just be like an Altaria deck.
Yeah, that's I agree.
That's kind of how I feel. Same thing. I think Luke Metal is a Zamazenta deck 90% of the time with Zacian as an attacker. So I think Zacian Zamazenta is a good combination because they offer power with the sword, defense with the shield. I think that Altaria and Zamazenta are very defensive. Yeah, they're too similar, and
I don't know.
Zamazenta's worse in that case. Where it blocks less things.
I agree.
So reasonably, I don't know. It's one of those things where you just need to find cards that isolate the threats that your opponent has to offer, and then just counter with Altaria, and you'll be fine. Not that it's a bad idea. I totally can understand where where the deck building thought process comes from. But...
Yeah, my thought was you run just a 4 of Zam, maybe 4 hammers, Yell Grunts. And you just kind of play around the fact that you're discarding special energies. You kind of keep them at bay while you chip away and you're immune to VMAXs. I don't know. It could be I don't think it'll ever be something, but it was just an idea I had that maybe possibly with Rusted Shield could, I guess, have a chance. But
I think Rusted Shield's cool. I think there's ways if you could find a way to heal, maybe there's a Zam deck in general. That'd be cool. I don't hate that necessarily.
That's kind of what that's kind of what I meant, right? Maybe not Altaria, but just maybe a deck focused around Zam instead of a straight Zacian list. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely possibilities there, but I'd like to see more VMAXs getting printed first.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some kind of new toxic your Pokemon VCan Attack Stadium or something that comes out. I think there's an idea there. We just need to let it kind of soak in and kind of get musty. There's no other way. We need to grow some mold around the cheese, bro.
We need to get a little soggy real quick. We gotta wait.
A little fromage on top.
That's right. Moving on though.
I think
What do you think about some of the other new ones? I think we have Cramorant and Delmise.
I think Delmise is terrible, but I'll let you talk about that because that's your Rosemise love child with I mean, I would I think it's creepy that you have a love child deck with a 15-year-old kid from Canada, man, and I'm sure your wife doesn't want to hear about that.
It was the birth of madness at 12 a.m. I was I need to figure out a way to play Delmise because I think most people are just widely accepted that you play it with Rowegg and you kind of just use it in there as an attacking option because you can't hit the bench and whatnot. And in Rillaboom decks you can accelerate energies. Me and Logan, we kind of figured, maybe there's another way to do it because at that point you might as well just run Rowegg, right? Because Rowegg is, by the way, it's going to be the star of the show if you're running it with Delmise. Just because it's your starting option, it's a good attacking option. Delmise, it's definitely not as good as other cards, but as a new card, I feel like I owe it something to try to at least make something fun with it. Logan,
see, I don't know how I feel about that. I'll let you finish. I thought I'm is this guy coughing? Is this guy about to die? Go on.
Well, and I understand because when you make a video on it, it might not be something people are gonna be oh, that's crazy. Let me go play that at a tournament or whatever. But at least it's something for people to play on the ladder, or just just have fun playing. Especially when the cards become more obtainable, and Delmise is very obtainable right now considering the other cards. But Logan brought up to me that Rose is a card that I literally forgot about, or at least you did play it in that E-turn list one night, which was hilarious. But it's not that it's not a terrible card because we do have Silvally GX. So the idea in the video that I might be posting tomorrow is Delmise with Rose in Silvally GX, of course with Rillaboom Engine, or not even with Rillaboom Engine. You just run Rose and And
Of course, with Rillaboom Engine. Of course, with Rose Engine.
Okay.
I mean, I'll put it like this: Rose hasn't really been a viable engine in a minute. So
never
like
been.
that's the big thing that scares me in just like in general, where I'm like,
never been a
Rose
good
is
engine.
unproven. Delmise seems pretty weak if you ask me.
Yeah.
Silvally GX literally beyond Pedro's one stunt at the chill event, which seemed like it's since done nothing. To me, it seems like a concept that is doomed for failure. And I mean, I like the experimental process.
Yeah.
I'll leave that to peeps like you and LDF,
Yeah.
some great YouTube content creators. For me, I'm like, I want to dive into the juicy steaks and just kind of see what's popping. Sure, sometimes I'll experiment and I'll cast one out there.
Yeah.
I know that you and I have talked a lot about the Kramer at VMAX. We've had some late night calls where, I mean, late night on a Discord call with Maddie Tate. Hopefully there's not 5 people in the call, but I've watched you play some games.
Cramorygon.
Kramer at VMAX.
Cramorygon. You know, and I initially, when that card came out, Zach, I was like, there's no way Porygon Z is the best way to play Kramer. Like, that's my initial reaction, because all of these Porygon Z decks in the past have just been memes, right? It's a very clunky card, but when I played Cramorant, I realized like Beak Catch helps that a lot, right? It's you search your deck for 2 cards. It's a starting option. You go first with Beak Catch. You can just grab a Porygon Z and a rare Kandai.
Porygon Z.
And you have the cards to set up next turn. You just it's a
is
deck.
That what they like? Not to cut you off there. Is that like I always forget because like I'm like an Americanized Canadian. And I know between like a lot of countries, it's Z or it's Z. Which one is the American one?
It's Z. I think most people in America say Z. I think.
So why'd you call it Porygon Z?
Because it's like it was
so
like a
weird.
it was like a meme. I guess I don't know. It's Porygon Z.
Are you memeing? Are you memeing on like over half the world, buddy, right now?
Porygon Z, bro.
Porygon Z.
No, it's funny because if you don't get Marnied and you go second, that deck will destroy your life because it's getting turn 2 Porygon Z'd out. You're most likely gonna find Cram VMAX, and it's one of those decks where if he's not playing swell, you have Glimwood out and you get that Beak Catch off. He doesn't Marnie you. That's a lot of scenarios. Oh, my camera died. I'm gonna have to change that. That's a lot of scenarios,
You
but
gotta love it.
that's a lot of scenarios. But the deck can do absurd amounts of damage, and it does have potential to one-shot anything, like literally anything.
I like it. I think against most VMAX decks, it actually can have a pretty favorable matchup. Like I remember when Champion's Path released, it kind of gives me the same vibes as Alcremie VMAX. Probably better than Alcremie VMAX, especially with like weakness and especially with damage outputs. It seems naturally a little bit better there. But it's one thing where I think that the deck has some kind of viability. Probably like overall, I think it's really lowly placed. And the reason why I think it's lowly placed is it's not as good as like single prize card decks like Mad Party that have the same kind of matchup spread. And it's a little bit more difficult to get into play. But it's certainly a viable idea, especially if you're a Cramorant fan. So
yeah, well, and my first sort of comparison was like Wailord. To me, it's just sort of like a better Wailord in a sense. But it's one of the things where the deck has such insane potential. But it has such terrible consistency, and decks like that are never going to see.
Marnie is a card, everyone. If you didn't know that, Marnie is a card.
People
Reset
play them.
Stamp is fine. They only play like a couple copies. Marnie's just like, cool, use Beak Catch. Haha, buddy, thanks for wasting your turn.
Exactly.
Here's 4 special energies in your hand. Hopefully you can top deck out of it.
Exactly.
So that's how the deck feels all the time.
That's how the deck
Good time,
is.
though.
It is a good time. Yeah, when it works, you just laugh. You just literally say, wow, I'm going to flip 14 coins right now. And
14.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've flipped above 14 sometimes.
That's so cool, bro. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And I mean, I guess the only other thing to really take away from Shining Fates is there's a cool other couple cards. Like there's the Celebi and there's the Manaphy. Like I posted a video on my channel. I'm posting a video of my pack opening where I kind of post like I kind of talk about like the cards that I'm excited about. It's more of a collector set for the most part. But again, I think it's a little bit more competitively viable than most players made it off the sounds.
Yeah.
So it's a really it actually makes this wait for battle styles feel a little bit lesser. Like the format feels a little bit new.
Yeah. For now,
it switched wigs up on us. Okay, it's wearing a wig.
I think we have like a month or a little less until battle styles. So I think that what we have now is definitely going to carry us over into battle styles. Like, and I think that it's definitely going to hold us off. For now,
like I said, it's like Megan the Stallion. Put a wig on, make him feel like he's cheating.
Yeah.
I'm cheating on Vivid Voltage right now.
For me, For me, it feels like Shining Fates added about 3 or 4 kind of tier 2, tier 3 decks, and then sort of improved upon a couple ADP deck, or sorry, a couple Zacian decks, and then kind of gave Altaria a new face, right? That's kind of just
Yeah.
that's just how it feels to me, which is fine. It's fine. I mean, I don't know. We're not getting any new E-turns or Sentis, but at least we're getting some new Orbeetle type decks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're probably better than Orbeetle type decks. But I mean, I think we did get some questions earlier on that I wrote down on my handy dandy notebook, feeling like one of those
Sure.
kid specials on TV. So from again, I'm pretty terrible at pronouncing things. So if I get your name wrong, you can hate me forever. That's cool. So from Wazin, so they were talking about amazing rares. How do you feel about the amazing rares being after after experience shares released in battle styles? So does experience share bring the juice to some of these amazing rare cards?
I don't know if it's like necessarily that necessary, because I think it matters, right? If you're playing at one of those amazing rare decks that does bench damage, maybe play Goggles, right? XP share definitely sounds fun. It sounds like it could help with some decks, maybe like something like Reshi or whatnot. But
well, I mean, a lot of them have really gross energy requirements, and they require a lot.
Right.
So I mean,
it makes
I
sense.
guess if you baton past that, seems okay.
What if Wishful Baton was a card?
If Wishful Baton was a card, I'd be a cheerleader right now.
Yeah, you think so? That's a
Yeah,
good one.
exactly.
Oh, I get it. No, I get it. I don't know. I mean, before we get into that, I think we talk about the new amazing rares in general before we go into sort of specifics about the XP share stuff.
Which ones came out again?
So we got Kyogre, which is 80 to every bench Pokemon or every Pokemon. We have Reshi, which is 270 for 3, and then for 3 energies, and then we have Yveltal for 5 energies, just KOs. Reshi seems the most playable in my opinion right now.
Yeah.
I think Kyogre could be kind of spicy in my opinion. You get telescopic sight on there. You hit for 110 potentially on its entire board. Do that a couple times and you win. That's for me sounded good, but in reality it's probably not that great. Crollo is in the chat.
Yo, what's up? What's popping, Crollo?
Can someone ban Crollo from the chat, please? Okay, thank you. But overall, I guess Reshi's probably the most playable because you do 270. That's a very good number. You can just run maybe like a couple goons or something to put that over maybe a couple numbers. I don't know.
What about Kyogre? What about Kyogre Orbeetle?
Sounds good. If it has Orbeetle in it,
it's like anything with Orbeetle.
Yeah.
And he's like, what about Cramorant Porygon Orbeetle?
Yeah,
It's like,
awesome.
oh my.
Also
Add this into my Rose deck.
I was trying to put Orbeetle in my Ditto Box deck as well, but Logan said no, and I couldn't justify it, sadly.
Also, we got a question from Raw47 before we move into a few of these others. What's your favorite Pokemon? Maddie, I'll let you start first.
Okay, well, it depends. Like, if we're talking about the TCG, like, in terms of cards, it's definitely Orbeetle. I think most people know that. I think that's the coolest card of all time. Just in general, and just when it comes to favorite Pokemon in terms of design, I really like Seismitoad. If you guys know what that guy is, he's perhaps the coolest looking.
Do you relate to the warts?
Yeah, I just think he's really. I think he's really ugly. He's got like long arms, and he just looks hilarious. But he's also very competitively viable. He's got the best typing in the game. I just love Seismitoad. When Gen 5 came out, and Gen 5 is my favorite game, I was like, what is that? I was like, I need that on my team. So that's my favorite.
I mean, Seismitoad's pretty cool. For me, if we're talking about Pokemon that are my favorite, I mean, I have a Kingdra tattoo. I don't know if you can see with the lighting. I have a tribal Kingdra tattoo that I got here when I was like 17. So I mean, I think Kingdra was the first deck that I really won a trip to the World Championships with back in 2005, 2006. So it's definitely been around there. If I could think of like a favorite Pokemon in general,
Like,
I don't even
like
know.
design-wise?
Like design-wise, like if I could think about a Pokemon that looks cool,
Yeah.
like I don't even know. That's honestly like crazy for me. There's just so many of them nowadays. I think if I could like any kind of Pokemon, I think Sobble's kind of cool.
Sobble's cool.
Sobble Dartrix are kind of like, make me feel like a little emo child,
Facts.
you know, all sad and depressed and stuff like that. I
We've
think
all
both of
been
those
there.
are pretty cool.
We've all been there on the playground at recess with our AirPods in, or
Some of us more than others.
with our with their earphones in, listening to Green Day. But I think that
See, nowadays we have like little Uzi Vert, so we
Yeah.
can just like cry to little Uzi Vert and Trippy Red and stuff, and see in the afterlife. And anyway, so we got another question here.
Sure.
To cut you off, from Ibippo.
Yeah.
So they took a gap in playing Pokemon for around 2014. They won a city championship, so they had some
Nice.
accomplishments for sure.
More than me.
Probably. I mean, I don't know. You have a
Definitely.
couple of those top fours at the very prestigious
Coffee cup. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I think nowadays it's one of those things where it's probably more rare to play in a coffee cup because it seems like they don't even start sometimes. I mean,
or
getting
finish.
accomplishments them or finish.
And if they start, they don't finish. If they...
Someone check Vixen to see if he's on a milk carton or something, because something's going on over there.
Yeah, shout out to Vixen
Anyways.
though. Shout out to Vixen. Shout out to Card Cavern, the boys.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
homies.
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
And if anyone, like, a lot of the times, like, we'll slide in, like, some little jabs and jokes here and there. It's nothing but love here at the... If I hate you, you're blocked on my Twitter.
Just go check right now.
100% you're just blocked on my Twitter. If you
Yeah.
see that you're blocked, you probably said something snide. Anyways,
Hold
so
on, hold on.
Ibippo...
Hold on.
What?
Jason says Mad Party over Turbozation. What do you think?
Hard disagree. I think Mad Party's an underrated deck, but it's not as good as Turbo
Okay.
Zacian.
All right, moving on.
I don't think it necessarily has the same matchup spread, and I don't think Turbo Zacian's been explored enough. So if anything, right now, that's an unfair take on Turbo Zacian. I think we need to, like, we put our little what are they called, seeds? We put our seeds in the dirt, and we're letting them grow with the Turbo Zacian. Mad Party's grown up. That's like comparing a child to an adult. Like,
Yeah.
it's like that child sucks.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Ungrown.
I agree with that
So-
as well, Jason. My opinion might change if you become a channel member, but for now, Turbozation over over Mad Party. Okay. Anyway, getting back to this dude who won a city
Okay,
in 2014.
So Ibeppa won a cities in 2014. They took a gap for a hot minute. What are some mindsets and tips to do better in online play when in real life play when it returns? And also Raw47, thank you so much. Amen.
I'll let you go with that. You can cover this because
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think Pokemon, whenever it's possible, I don't ever recommend taking a break. That's super long. I think obviously there's some things that could happen in a person's life that would cause them to take a 7-year gap,
Right.
whether they've lost interest in the game or they're going through some outside life stuff. Regardless of that, I think that like even people who played in real life now, who might be watching this podcast, who are who've taken a break from online play because they don't like PTCGO, I think that's the incorrect take. I think there's a lot to be learned about sequencing, things like that. So basically the best way to kind of jump back into the game and kind of get the same kind of results or even grow from that 2014 City Championships win. I think if you start taking notes about your games, or we actually live in a world where technology exists, you could even record your games so that you kind of have some data, kind of self-reflect after each match that you play. So write the reasons why you did well, what went wrong, things like that. I think that's really important overall. Just like knowing what you're doing well, what you need to be doing better, and anything else that's worthwhile to mention. Replay value, I think, is great on your games to see. Like sometimes you don't necessarily know what you did wrong. Maybe rewatching it an hour later might be worthwhile. I think that just following on some of your favorite streamers, favorite content creators is a really great way. Find people who you find are trustworthy. I think I don't want to name names. I think there's a lot of players who have given up. There's a lot of content creators who have given up their kind of channel prestige and stuff like that, and they've sold out for the cash. And I think it's one of those things where I don't necessarily think a lot of the content creators are true right now. I don't necessarily think that a lot of it is accurate. I think a lot of these channels are putting up videos because they're collecting a check. And there's nothing wrong with collecting a check at all. Nothing wrong at all. And I mean, I'm definitely envious of some of these channels. A lot of channels are a lot bigger than mine and Maddie's. But at the end of the day, when you're not necessarily giving the best content available to your viewers, I think that's really where it becomes a bit of a divide. And I mean, my videos are my exact lists. I know that Maddie sits here on Discord and we'll go over our thumbnails for the week. We'll go over our content for the week.
Yeah.
And I mean,
The
this
lists,
is really
everything.
where we try
Yeah.
the absolute best to make the best content for everyone.
Right.
We're talking about how can we make tournaments better? How can we make our podcast better? Improving each and every week. So I wouldn't necessarily put out a tier list that's incorrect. I'll put up a tier list that's my own opinion, and if my opinion's incorrect, but
You're right.
I'm arguably I on it like without any like boosting or anything. I don't know anyone who's accomplished as me in the online era when it comes to cash tournaments. Consistently playing. So it's one of those things where I'm not saying necessarily follow me if you're in the chat. Obviously, you're either a fan or you hate me or something. I don't know. But it's one of those things where I think it's worthwhile. Find a few people who you could find who are trustworthy or at least provide great content for you. That's really a good place to kind of soak in. And while you're playing PTC Geo and stuff like that, you should double dip, play your PTC Geo games and see exactly what's going on and stuff.
For sure.
So, I mean, I think that's the best way to kind of grow. If you need any more help than that, coaching and other option, there is an option as well. You don't necessarily even have to choose me or anyone else. It's just one of those things. Find people who you can trust.
Yeah, I
friends
think,
or content creators.
Yeah, I think everything that you said, and knowing a group of really good players is so important. Like, I wouldn't know half the things I know, and I wouldn't, I'm not a great player, like, in any respect. But I wouldn't be, but I wouldn't be nearly as good if I hadn't, really gotten to know a lot of really other good players, right? And been in sort of a group of people that are really good at the game and really knowledgeable. So I think that's a big part of it too. And if you're looking for meta-analysis, a lot of times, like Zach said, it's people's opinions, and that's only going to go so far. And I'm not saying you shouldn't value other people's opinions, but there are really great organizations like Limitless, like PokeStats, who kind of post the raw data, right? And you can look at that, which always does kind of
even like a
you go
Dino Data as well.
Dino Data.
Dino Data.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of stuff, and the numbers oftentimes don't lie. They can have things a little bit skewed, right? You look at the numbers, you might be like, ADP's the best deck in the game. Well, it's the most played deck, right? So there's things like that. But for the most part, I think that find a good group of people that you trust, that are good, that are talented, interested in the game, and find content creators and really sort of dip your toes in the community and everything. So I think that's for sure. I think that's good. Do we have another one, Zach?
Yeah, we got June the Poke God. Shout out to June who
let's go, June.
Dropped Maddie that shiny sticker.
Let's go.
Maddie's gonna hang it up on his fridge and show his wife what happened today while she worked hard.
Let's at a real job. Yeah.
Yeah, she's at a real job, and Maddie's like, "Hey, you want to what? Someone donated me a sticker today. Your wife's probably gonna slap you and leave you."
Yeah, she'd be. Oh, that's so nice. Good.
That's so nice. I'm gonna hang it around
job.
like the macaroni necklace you got me for Valentine's Day. So June the Poke God, but basically it wasn't really a question, but it was more of a comment that I thought was a good discussion point. The price of in real life cards versus the viability of online with the PTC Geo client. I think that's a good discussion point. But at the same time, I feel like
talking about prices,
kind of like the prices of getting into the game, I guess.
Okay.
Unless if June, if you're still here, which I see you're still here, if you want to elaborate on that, if there's something that you meant by it, we're totally here, and we appreciate the support. But it's really one of those things where, like, just to start off, I think right now with the limited availability of packs at retailers, and stuff like that. What are you laughing at?
What did Raw47 just have in my chat? Can I read it? Can I just read it for you?
Yeah.
Seismitoad dine on those flies, and so it flies and floats, unlike this floored microphone. I'm in zone higher, soul rhymes galore aligned with source divine and spoke no lies, just dope type of quotes.
I mean, honestly, I'll have what you're having afterwards when we're not on air. Anyways,
that was amazing. I had to read
broken.
that. Yeah, I had to read that. Anyway.
Yeah, that was definitely. I feel like you and Gazerbeam would be best buddies.
Yeah, dude.
If not, that is Gazerbeam. Yeah. That might be Gazerbeam. If that's Gazerbeam's YouTube, I'm excited. But basically, I'm gonna start off. Basically, in real life, I literally said basically 50,000 times.
Yeah, basically.
But basically, cards in real life cost a lot less right now. It's only like the hype cards that cost a lot right now. So things like Zacian Vs are actually below $2 each. So if you want to build any of these decks, it's one of those things where I don't necessarily think that they're too expensive to build. Of course, some of the cards are going to be like kind of hard to acquire. Like I think Shining Fates cards might be hard to acquire. So if you're a Bling God and you want to pick up those black and golden Eternatus,
Bling
it's
God.
probably going to be a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
But if you're picking up Eternatus promos, Eternatus whatever,
Cheap.
they're probably they're probably cheap because the collectors want to get the PSA graded rainbow rare ones. They don't necessarily care about the regular art GXs. Trainer cards are quite often fodder, and there's a lot of product that we've had released.
A lot of reprints recently. In Shining Fates,
Yeah.
even a lot of just supporter reprints, Pokemon reprints. I mean, Crobat now I'm sure is going to dip in price now that it was reprinted so heavily in Shining Fates.
It's still pretty heavy right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I traded away. I actually in my video I pulled 4 Crobat Vs from the sets.
Absolutely ridiculous. But I know you can buy, trainer tool codes for like $5 on for on a place like Card Cavern. Tradingcards.com. Use the code ChillTCG for 5% off your entire order.
Or on PTCGOstore.com, use code ZLassage5.
That's right. So, but things like that, and you get 2 Dedenes for a very low price, as well as just a variety of other stuff. So I think if you're looking to get into the game and get cards on PTCGO, products like that are very good.
The League Battle decks.
Yes, exactly.
Even some of the promos that they came out with, like they have the Crobat V Max promo that's I think coming out in a little bit.
Yeah.
The Boltons, Eldegoss, Cramorant tins. So there's a lot of playable ways to get cards cheaper than just like whatever. Whether you're picking up promos at your local Walmart if you're able to find it, or your Target, or wherever you are, wherever your local game store, do whatever you want there. But yeah, I think that kind of describes. I don't know if you have any other ideas on how to like. I think online and in real life are very similar. If anything, online cards have gone up since the whole game switched to online.
My chat is blowing up with randomness right now. I agree with everything you said. Anyway, first of all, Alex asked me just personally, do I play IRL or just online? I do play IRL and online. I do have a bunch of cards IRL. I build decks. I play with my wife and my friends and stuff. Unfortunately, during the pandemic and where I live, there's not much of a competitive scene IRL. But once the pandemic ends, I definitely want to travel and go up to to what is it, Bree? Do you live in Bree? Is that what that is?
In Bree?
What town do you live in? What's it called?
Oh, Barrie.
Barrie. I'm gonna go up to Barrie.
I live in
I love it. I'm gonna go up to Barrie, Canada, and play some Pokemon with Zach or something like that. I'm definitely down. So I do play IRL. It's just right now, online is kind of the focus. Jason says, which battle styles Urshifu do you like more?
I don't have an opinion. I think right now, I think the Rapid Strike one seems a little bit better right off the rip. But I think the Single Strike one might be low-key underrated.
I agree.
And I just haven't had enough time to test it. So, I mean, I think it's one of those things once we have a little bit more time with what's going on.
Yep.
When the set's released, we'll test a little bit more.
Yeah.
What else do we got here?
I kind of thought that originally, too, where, at first glance, I thought Rapid Strike was way more busted. But I think that they actually did a pretty good job good job of making them pretty even in terms of, I think, in the long run, their viability. Raw47 says a DMT out the wazoo. And Yoshi said...
Okay, cool.
Yoshi says, are y'all playing in the team challenge?
I qualified for my team challenge. So I played it. Maddie, I don't think you played.
No, I didn't. No, I tried to register for a tournament on the 20th, but that was when GG Tour was. So a lot of things kind of happened, and I just necessarily didn't really have time to play in the team challenge and qualify. So it's not too important to me. It seems cool. I just don't have too much time to play too much nowadays between running tournaments, 2-3 times a week sometimes, and running, making the content, and stuff like that. So, I think June says, I think that the prices of PTCG are intimidating for new players, especially since they might have not played any other TCGs. Yeah, thoughts. I mean, it's one of those things where like if you were to compare it to anything else, you'd be like, oh, this is nothing. But if you're looking to get into a card game, you might be like, do I really want to spend $100 on a deck to play Pokemon? Right? I guess it can be intimidating, especially since if you're a younger person, you might not have like the money or the job or whatnot. And it's also one of those things where like you can get a booster box for like Christmas or your birthday or something. It's like $100. You might not pull really any of the cards that you need, especially if it's like Vivid Voltage or something, right? You might just be like, oh, cool, like I'll build a Colossal deck or like something like that. You know what I mean? So It's definitely one of those things where you have to kind of reach out to sort of the single, the third party market, buy some singles. And it's also one of those things where you can kind of get burned too if you're not educated on sort of rotation and things like that. But
I think the way that I look at it, like a lot of kids growing up, they do something, and a lot of the parents, especially like in middle class, lower middle class and above, basically has their kids doing soccer, hockey, football,
Yeah.
something, right? Like, and that stuff's expensive. Like no one necessarily thinks about the price of how much that martial arts class costs. And like, so I think regardless your parents or your caregivers or something, even your brothers, sisters, maybe talk to them and be like, you want to know what, Pokemon's my thing. I know that my dad wanted me to do sports as a kid. I hated it. I've never really been, I'm built like a potato. So I'm not really like, the only sport that I could play is football, and it's just not my interest. I really like playing video games. And I mean, I literally am like a pro esports athlete right now.
Technically.
And that's the only way you'll ever call Zach an athlete. Jeez. But I think it's one of those things where
it's a loose term.
If you talk to them and be like, Pokemon's my hobby, Pokemon's my thing, it's not that expensive compared to other hobbies in general.
Exactly.
And at the same time, I think if you're in a lower income family and you're struggling a little bit right now with the prices of cards, I totally feel for you. I grew up a little bit poor growing up. Not to say that I always had food and stuff like that, but there was never much money else for other things. So like my parents went through a divorce, like things like typical like things that happen to most people, but there wasn't necessarily a lot of extra money. But I'd save up like the limited allowance that I'd have, or like the limited money that I'd get, and I'd buy theme decks, and I'd try my best and really educate myself on this type of stuff. So I mean, yeah, I built like a potato sack.
That's fine.
Yeah, if all you learn about this podcast is that I'm built like a potato, I mean potatoes are broken.
Yeah, facts. I mean, maybe like a sweet potato, built like a yam.
So we got
yam god.
Yeah, Yosefi, shout out to him. I'm getting a thing from Poophead8908. Love the name, by the way, super original.
Yeah, that's good.
Could ADP with Berserker be viable? I disagree. I think that
there's no need for it. Really.
It's too much in one deck.
Yeah,
there's too much on your plate, bro.
I mean, the thing is, like with ADP, like you're always doing that plus 30, and then with the rest of the sword, you're doing plus 30. I think it's better if, to that same thought, maybe you run in a Leon or two, right? Because you're running Eldegoss anyway.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, and I just don't think Berserkers, because the whole point of running straight Zacian with Berserkers is that you don't need the ADP, right? It's just like to do them both, it just doesn't make much sense, because honestly, if you don't get that GX attack off early game, you're most likely not winning anyway. So, yeah.
Amen.
That's my thoughts. Krolos' thoughts on the future of online tournaments. I guess he wants me to cover that, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think I've covered this before a few times. I think that the future of the online tournaments looks bright. I think, of course, when IRL events come back, it's not going to be at the forefront of sort of the competitive community anymore. But things are going to be split, right? If people have the option to play and chill on Wednesday before their League Cup or before their regional, maybe to test out their decks or test out the meta, then maybe they will, right? But I think that even when IRL events come back, there's been such growth and sort of a community built around the online competitive scene that it's not going to leave and disappear completely when IRL events come back. But it's definitely not going to be like the primary source of competitive content. So that's my opinion.
But I mean, I guess like more immediately, I know we haven't really got a chance to talk about it, but Chill Season 3.
Yeah, we gonna go into that?
What's going on with that? I mean,
I'll
let you talk about that for a little bit.
Okay. So again, the Invitational is tonight. So Chill Series Season 2 wrapped up. It was perhaps one of the best seasons anyone's ever had. We had we had over like 1,200 unique players over the course of like 10, 11 tournaments. We had thousands of players total. It was absolutely ridiculous. The season is over now. So this week, it's Wednesday. We don't have a chill tonight. We're running the Invitational. However, next week on Wednesday at 6 p.m., we will be back. And we will be running Chill Series number 21, the first Chill Series of Season 3. This one's super special, Zach. We made it special that we're coming back. It is 100% free entry to play, and we have 200 Shining Fates packs in our prize pool. So, if you're looking to compete and you're looking to get back into the grind, perhaps qualify for the next GG Tour or qualify for, I suppose the next Chill Invitational, then maybe you go check it out. I highly suggest it. Maybe you win 50, 60, 70 Shining Fates packs. You never know. So definitely go check it out. Next Wednesday, link will be somewhere. I don't know. Just join the Discord server. It's somewhere. But
Yeah, it's somewhere.
yeah, a week from tonight. But it's gonna be hype. It's gonna be very hype. I'm very excited. So
But
yeah.
you also have, what's that called? The High Roller tournament coming up, right?
Well, this was something I actually decided was I didn't want to take an extra week off of normal Chill Series events. So instead of the High Roller, a week from today, we're just gonna go straight into season 3. I'm gonna maybe we'll save the High Roller for a later
That
date.
sounds hot. I mean, that means you save some packs. I mean, you don't. As much as I like the idea of the High Roller, not everyone has access to however many packs it would cost to enter. So I mean, it's gonna be super exciting for the Shining Fates. I must have missed the memo on that one.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yikes!
I didn't really tell many people about it. It was one of those things where, it just seemed like the best option, because I recently, and shout out to Card Cavern, they're the ones who are sponsoring the tournaments. They're a sponsor. They will be giving us the 200 Shining Fates codes. I didn't know that they would be available before this date. So like, the tournament is on the it's on the 3rd, I think. March 3rd is when Wednesday is. So it's one of those things where I didn't expect to have the codes and the pack sponsored to us for the event. But Card Cavern, as awesome as they are, came through in the clutch. And since they are able to do that, then I might as well give them to them, because that's just how we are. I mean, if somebody, it's crazy, right? Because I feel like if anyone else was given 200 free packs of Shining Fates, they were probably not going to give it away for a tournament. But you know what? It's what we do.
Sometimes other online tournament organizers do it completely for free.
That's right. Sometimes people take
everyone.
cuts,
Everyone has their own things. I mean, I think it's absolutely detrimental to people, and we've seen those effects by people. We've seen the effects of people in the online community. Like, we even have Curl in the chat. Curl has had some rough times. If you're doing something for nothing, it becomes incredibly difficult. And I mean, even a not-for-profit or something like that, there's still some kind of payments here and there. So, I mean, just to set things straight, we all listen to podcasts and stuff like that. So I think that was the wrong take on it, and I'm willing to call someone out without saying names.
Ridiculous, man. No,
but nothing but love.
I mean, most people do it for free. Like, nobody's really getting paid to run tournaments unless, you work for GG Tour, because they are the best of the best. But
I don't know if I would run a tournament for the price that what I assume GG Tour pays based off their price structure. I mean, I think that you're still doing the Lord's work at a good price. I mean, GG Tour for sure, not to say that they're underpaying Maddie. I think
that's not why we do it, of course.
Tournament organizing is a thankless job for the most part. I mean, the community loves it in a lot of ways, but it's one of those things where it's always difficult. So I don't know. I think that the job that you're doing right now is what regional organizers literally would do for their full-time job, getting paid by Pokemon thousands upon thousands of dollars and stuff like that, and they're booking venues and stuff like that. A lot of the logistics you're doing online, sure, online doesn't have venue costs, but a lot of what y'all are doing through the community, it would have been really cool, I think, if some of these actual organizers, and not to say that you're not an actual organizer, I mean, someone before the pandemic who was an actual organizer put in some effort. Like, I know Limitless, I don't necessarily think they were organizers before the pandemic. They really stepped up. You really stepped up. Hegster stepped up. Crollo stepped up.
Everybody.
GG Tour stepped up. But I think that some of the bigger regional organizers could have definitely had a following. They definitely could have seen what they could have ran, especially for some of these cash online regionals. A lot of them have storefronts. A lot of them are code websites, things like that. So I think that would have been really cool to see exactly what they could have done. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I appreciate what everyone's doing, payment or no payment. Everyone can figure it out. I think anyone who's not getting paid right now hasn't figured it out properly.
To some extent, to be a little bit.
No, I disagree with that. I think right now, you as an organizer, you have your YouTube channel. Like, there's different paths, right?
Yeah,
and I think getting monetized on YouTube, it's not a lot of money. By no means it doesn't even pay for your internet bill right now. But you're growing some seeds right now, as we said before.
Exactly.
Right? Like, it grows some seeds, and I think doing something and gaining something back is cool. But that's kind of like my rant on that. Also, while we're on the topic of the no high roller tournaments, Maddie and I know we talked either last week or a couple weeks before about our Yellhorn events. With kind of the end of format and the way that things are happening, and Shining Fates not being a full set release, we decided that we want to release our events a little bit after Battle Styles.
Yeah, that's the best
is
time.
released,
That's the best
to
time.
to basically make the format a little bit more competitively viable.
Maybe get some
To
Battle
maybe
Styles
find
packs
some time
in there.
to build. Exactly.
Whoop.
So we're buying some time right now. There's a lot of cool events going on. Hi Hayden, by the way. Hi Hayden.
I hate it.
Anyways, yeah. Chill TCG.
We will be running.
Yellhorn events.
Yeah, we will be running a
We're running
Yellhorn
it.
tournament.
We're
Yeah.
just postponing it for the sake of competitive viability
Exactly.
and for better pricing.
For sure. No, for sure. And it's one of those things where I think that we could run it maybe in this 1 month period between Shining Fates and Battle Styles. But the thing with that is that the format isn't necessarily changing a whole lot. And people, who might be getting hundreds of Shining Fates packs right now this month, maybe wishing that they won 100 Battle Styles a month later. And Battle Styles, after it releases, will have a much larger period of time where that meta is sort of, the meta. Instead of just 1 month right now of Shining Fates. So I think that waiting for Battle Styles is going to be the best option, and I think that we
we'll figure it out, and we'll come up with a structure that makes people happy too. Like we want to make sure that everyone's just like hyped for this event.
Yeah.
The reception towards the Yellhorn, like the Yellhorn grew up when Maddie and I were not. We grew it from something or from nothing to something. We both didn't even both weren't even monetized, under 1,000 subs on YouTube.
It started
and
with
now we're both over 1,000 subs.
It started with us playing Fortnite at 3 a.m, thinking, why don't we just record this?
Why don't we just do a podcast? Exactly. Like why we're pretty funny. So I mean, we appreciate all the reception. I mean, here we are. Didn't even think we'd do a live episode, and now we got people who are watching. We got the concurrent viewers and stuff like that. So that's all good. So I mean, it's kind of hot, and can't say nothing but thanks and praise to everyone who's allowed us to get here. And I mean,
Exactly.
I'll keep it real. I'll lose friends in the process by keeping it real. I'll gain friends in the process by keeping it real. But it's one of those things where it's super cool. And again, appreciate everyone who's here right now.
Appreciate everybody. Again, if you're watching this on Zach's Twitch, maybe drop him a sub. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, maybe if you don't even click join, if you haven't joined for $1.99 a month, toss me a sticker or two. Maybe just click subscribe if you're not subscribed. I know we have like 12 people watching the stream right now. Click like on the video. Everything just helps, right? And it's one of those things where you don't really think about it, right? You might be like, why would I, but liking the video, it actually goes a long way in subscribing and that $1.99. It all goes back into the work and into the prizes and the tournaments and stuff. So, June says, any advice for people who want to make a podcast? Yeah. Personally, I think that if you become friends with one of the best Pokemon players in the world, it's pretty smart to start a podcast. But I don't know. It's tough, right? Because you need to be in a position to where people might want to listen to you. And I'm not saying that we're people that people want to listen to, but
someone did something. I heard something in my background.
What happened?
So I don't know if someone followed. I heard something on my OBS.
Yeah, someone might have probably followed you or something. Yeah. Because I mean, for me, it was like, I thought the dynamic was better than anything. Like, I knew people would listen to Zach, and value his opinions. And I was kind of coming up as a tournament organizer, right? And I just felt like we had a good dynamic between somebody on the back end as a content creator, TO, and then somebody as a player and a content creator. I just thought we both thought. I think Zach didn't necessarily that it was a good idea. But when it comes to the technical stuff of making a podcast, I think you really want to focus on making sure the quality's good, right? So both of you guys have good audio. You can make it a video podcast like we do, which I think is unique in some respect, which is important. And always having fresh topics, fresh guests. Our guests have been fire this season of the Yellhorn. Absolutely.
Like even like reviewing it to anyone, because it was kind of like we're going back memory lane. We had
what was our first
LDF,
what was the first guest that we had? Do we remember? Do you want to try to go in order? We can get it right. Was it
our first guest?
Was it Jarishon?
No, it wasn't.
Sure.
I think so.
Well, okay, maybe in no particular order. We had Little Dark Fury, we had Jarishon, we had Gyroscope Eevee, recently we had Wolfie VGC, and then we also had Celio's Network Luke Morsa. Are we missing? Am I missing somebody?
No, I think we had 5 guests because our first podcast episode was just
Our first 3, I think, didn't have guests.
yeah. So I mean, this is only episode 10, and I mean our last one didn't have any, or well, our second last one. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of
Yeah.
those things where
Busted
those are our
guests.
5.
Busted guests.
Yeah, amazing guests, and I mean, we really want to bring people on. We probably would have had someone on this week. We have a lot of people who are sliding up in our DMs for spots and other reasons, I guess. But it's one of those things where, yeah, I don't know. It's we basically were testing the waters with our lives, and the fact that we're able to record on both of our ends and become live, and then kind of keep it.
I like
real. And also,
live.
thank you, Hayden, for follow on Twitch. No, I think the live is actually so much better, and it makes it easier to kind of bring up a talking point.
Yeah.
Because like you do understand that Maddie we haven't been running our podcast for the past 6 months, but we've literally been running our podcast during that 6-month period where the format's been completely stale and still trying to bring
Yeah, exactly.
entertainment and fun to Pokemon. So I mean, I guess June, to answer what you're trying to say, or like for the podcast, is I think Maddie really struck the nail. Is I think you need to have quality for sure. So make sure that you have the equipment. Maybe you don't necessarily need the webcam. Podcasts are typically in audio only.
Right.
Maddie and I both run our YouTubes, but I mean, double dip in that content whenever possible.
Yeah, it's always good. You're just
I
not
think
gonna hurt.
having a co-host or co-hosts with charisma. There's some other podcasts that are a little bit stale to listen to. They might have really great information, but it's not super fun. But I don't know. It's literally one of those things where I think you need to have some charisma to it. You need to find kind of a niche of what you're talking about. Like Maddie and I have it from the TO to pro player, both content creators, to kind of round things out and talk about that. I think we've become incredibly great friends, and we have a lot of the same interests and stuff like that, and we're similar friend groups. So I mean, I think a lot of our ideas came from us just like dicking around.
It's one of those things where you remember in French class or algebra class where you're just fucking off because like you say like you just don't care about what's going on.
Is that the first F-bomb on the yellow horn?
It might be, my bad. But then there's that other kid. There's that other kid in class who's also just not doing anything, and you're like, oh, this guy's the man, right? And then you just become friends. Like, to be honest with you, that's kind of how it was. Not saying that we were both just bumming out, but it was that type of deal where you're like, yeah, this guy's the man. Because there's a lot of really nice people in the community, but some of them are just not your type of person. You know what I mean? So you definitely want to be on a podcast with somebody who you're cool with, to some respect, right?
Yeah, you got to find something. Like, you don't want to. Yeah, it's like going on a date, and you don't want to find out on the date that like they're not into you or something like that, or
that they play in Krolo's events or something, right? That would just be a deal breaker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're going on a date with Krolo.
Yeah, it's a blind date and it turns out to be Krolo.
Yeah, they're literally wearing a full morph suit and they open it up and they're like, "Hey guys, it's me, Krolo. Want to play in my events?"
They're like, "Howdy."
Yeah. And I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah, Raw47.
Anyway.
He says, "Appreciate and love you guys as well. I resonate with gaining and losing friends while keeping it real. That's some real talk." Josh from 13 minutes ago is an example. LMAO.
Oh, rip Josh.
Yeah, I don't know. That's...
Or maybe they're a real friend. I don't know. That's a Ra, you're on year 3021 right now, buddy.
June says thoughts on non-standard formats. Cough cough popper. Cough cough.
I mean, I think it's funny to be like cough popper because it's kind of I don't think it's an innuendo, but it kind of plays off like it is. But I think sorry kids, stay safe. Anyways, it's one of those things. I haven't necessarily looked into it. June, I know we talked about it a little bit before. I don't really play alternative formats on my channel. I don't even necessarily focus on expanded. I think standard is the only format that I'll ever really focus on. I even like have beaches and stuff online. It's one of those things where I'll play an expanded if I feel like it. But the fact that world championships, international championships, majority of regional championships, majority of league cups, majority of online events are all standard, kind of makes it to the point where I can only focus on that one format. And Zach's sexy, and Maddie's hot.
Well, that's kind of how it is, right, Zach? It's like when you're spending so much time trying to become the best player possible, you particularly playing competitively, like sometimes that's your livelihood, right? Then now as content creators, like the majority of the market and the game itself is standard format. And that's sort of the reason why for both of us, it's probably our focus. Not saying the expanded format isn't isn't good. Like I personally, I don't play expanded for two reasons. One, I'm pretty new to the game, so a lot of these older cards I don't have access to on PTCGO, and I don't really know much about. The second one being, I just, as a content creator and somebody who runs standard tournaments, it's the best thing for me to focus on primarily. When he mentioned Pauper and stuff like that, I think that a restricted format could be very fun on PTCGO at least, or maybe like a draft format. I don't know if you ever played Hearthstone, Zach, but they do have like this.
Yeah, I played it.
They have that one game mode where it's like a draft, like an automated. They give you options and you pick between them and you kind of build your deck as you go. I like that idea in PTCGO. Like if they were to just have something like that, like they could just program it into the game. Like imagine if it popped up, like and there was like choose between these three cards, and it was like Reshizard, Pika, Mewtwo, and you were like, oh, I'll play Mewtwo deck, and then it showed you three more, and you kind of slowly built a deck, and you try to go as far as you can.
I think that sounds hot. Like,
yeah.
The way that I look at it, like, I think right now I'm so focused and invested on standard that I kind of turn a blind eye towards most of the other available formats that there are. Yeah. I find a lot of it is, I think that formats like that could probably be marketed a little bit better, to be honest.
I agree.
Sell it to me. Just like in your description, tell me why it's cool. Tell me exactly what's going on with the format, because I look again at a lot of these events, looking for standard events, and I'm not sure I entirely understand what the format is, and I'm not entirely sure what I understand what a lot of the formats are. That's not to say that I don't understand what Pauper format is.
Right.
I don't understand exactly what's going on with a lot of these different formats, especially like not throwing Vixen under the bus here, but Vixen has so many crazy ideas and really tries to bring them to life. I can't keep track of what's going on with any of those events. So, I mean, maybe finding ways to incentivize it. The fact that there's a GG Tour regionals where I won cash, that's really cool for the standard formats. Maybe if there was the same thing for Pauper format or other alternative formats, that'd be super cool.
Exactly.
But again, I'm not sure. Although, like, when Maddie and I play Fortnite, a lot of the times we're kind of bored with the Fortnite format. We're waiting for the next season to come out.
Yeah.
We've been playing a lot of like the Shockwave instead of the Battle Royales and stuff like that. It's one of those things where please don't do that. Please do not do that. I think that when players are bored, they'll find ways to keep themselves entertained if they're really looking for it.
Right.
However, I think if you're really trying to be an advocate for the format, I would put your best foot forward and make a bigger footprint on our community.
Yeah.
And that's not to say you're not doing enough or that you're not doing a great job. I think it's one of those things where I think a lot of it can just come to, you could just be a little bit bigger in the community if you wanted to. And that might spread into your podcast. Hayden's asking here, when are you putting Moo Moo Cheese on the podcast? And I mean,
Hayden,
get out of here.
Hayden, I don't think showing any sort of cheese on the podcast is a good idea, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe we I don't know.
I want to talk about Crollo's date though. I know Crollo's for a while has talked about how Crollo does not want to put $1.99 into joining for Maddie. So I mean, the fact is, I feel like if I'm pulling into a date with Crollo,
he's definitely not buying your dinner for you. That's for sure.
Yeah, Crollo's definitely not buying your dinner. Crollo's wearing the running shoes on with the fake fur coat and just like flying away into the night. And you're gonna be stuck there. You pack your cash, or you're gonna have to do some dishes at this greasy diner.
June says, I swear. June says, I swear, if y'all do Fortnite on stream, we'll be popping off. Could potentially,
so maybe
happen.
Maybe we do like a yell horn where you and I both play Fortnite.
And just talk. Yeah, we can't. We
and
do
we
rage
talk.
a lot.
I mean,
though.
that might be fun.
There's a lot of rage.
We do rage a lot.
There's a lot of anger that comes out in the game.
Yeah, there's definitely some anger, and I mean, we might do maybe the Yell Horn podcast plays Fortnite as a special episode. Maybe we'll do that as a special episode with some kind of sub or YouTube member goal or something like that.
Yeah,
I think that'd be kind of cool.
I mean, I'm cool. I'm always fun with incentivizing.
Maddie and I could play. Maybe we'll do even some like special stream or something, and we can record the podcast while we do our special stream. I think that's something cool. But I guess kind of, I don't know if Maddie, if there's anything else that you want to talk about. I know we've been rambling on here for over an hour and a half.
The last 5 minutes have been very much coasting.
Yeah, we've been very much coasting. So I mean, I think that like we've said, we appreciate everyone who's been supporting us this whole time. The support even today has been incredible, with Maddie getting a couple members. Maddie got a sticker to show his wife.
That's right.
Josh Sutherland literally emptied his pockets and showed that he has more Corolo money.
That's right. That
It's
GG
one of those
Tour
things
money.
where, yeah, we appreciate everything that everyone's done for us. Let us know in the comments or wherever you can reach us, DMs, Discords, whatever, what you want to see on the podcast. How can we make this next season or future iterations better? Let us know if you want to be a guest, or if you want someone to be a guest. Like,
Yep.
we got Wolfie VGC on the podcast. Don't think that we don't know everyone and that we can't pull someone on a.
That's right.
Maddie and I are good fishermen.
That's right.
And we'll catch that fish for you. So let us know which fish you want us to fry. We'll bring that up, topics, anything like that. But that being said, it's been Yellhorn episode 10. Thanks to GG Tour for helping us get this far.
That's right.
And everyone else who supported us, between my sponsors at PTC Geostore and Maddie's sponsors at Card Cavern.
Yep. I mean,
so
realistically, like, GG Tour is a sponsor of the podcast, so, you know, big shout out to them. Like, you know, definitely go check them out at ggtour.com. Just right up there in the top. This way. Over there. ggtour.com. They got tournaments for a bunch of great games. Oh, June the God with 99-cent cheer. Thank you so much, June. Thank you guys so much.
With a big happy smiley face.
Yeah, that's a weird face, but I love the emote. Yeah, GG Tour, man, they run tournaments for PTCGO, but not only that, they run it for like Fall Guys, like World of Tanks, just like an incredible wide assortment of esports games. They have great cash prize tournaments, so go check them out. But anyway, guys, yeah, we are going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching throughout the podcast. It was awesome. Let me guys, let us know on Twitter or here on YouTube if you guys liked that we do it live. We can do it live in the future. It's definitely not something that's too out of reach, realistically. But
it's just literally an extra button, and Maddie and I might have to be either more outrageous or not. I mean, maybe I want to get Raw 47 on this podcast and see what's going on there.
Yeah, that guy's he might show us the goods, bro. He might come from a different realm or something.
Pop out the Poppy Jack and be like, I sold crack to Jay-Z. And on that note,
okay,
Yellhorn number 10.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. All right, guys, we will catch you later. And if you want to re-listen to this, go check it out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everything else. So, all right, bye, guys.
Wherever else you listen to podcasts.
That's true.
Bye.
All right, see you guys later. Okay, let me end the stream.
That was fun.
Hold on, let me end the stream.